Hey, welcome to the Crippled Handyman. Yeah, let's talk about this let's talk about some OSHA stuff. Whoop, hold on guys. We gotta get the PPE going. The boss. Eddie the boss. I've had lots of nicknames growing up, being out in the working world. The one that stuck the most, this one guy used to call me Easy Money. I don't know. Whatever. We were on the same project, building all the same projects together. He was in a different line of work. He was a pipe fitter. I was a sheet metal worker. Um, the work got done. The company made money. So, I don't know. It was a win-win. Let's talk about this. I want to talk about like some OSHA stuff. You guys wanting to get into the construction world. I'm trying to get you young cats out there. You men and women. And there's a lot to learn. It's not even just learning the industry. You're actually learning a lot of safety, how to work safely, how to perform a job safely, um, all the protocols you have to follow in order to build this project. It's definitely a contract. It's a owner of a company's worst nightmare, but at the same time, OSHA can be their friend. I guess after over the years of many years, you learn to evaluate how much you have to figure into the investment of all the safety practices. Besides training your employees, getting them into OSHA classes, you have to have your different OSHA training. It's actually a requirement. You can't say no, I don't want to do it. You have to do these. But here's this is something. OSHA. It's actually what it means is occupational safety and health association. A lot of times, they're that big scary word. I guess they can be a pain in the ass. Sometimes. If you get the wrong OSHA rep coming out on your project, they can make your life miserable. I've never had that. Because when you were coming to our jobs, we knew about it. It was a heads up. We locked down. We ended up going on break. We shut our gang boxes and took a break. If it was an hour, do your thing, get the hell off my project so we could finish building the job. Because we don't want you nitpicking one little thing. And we never, I always try to do everything. I always try to make sure all of our equipment was up to par. And if it wasn't, I red tagged it and sent it back to the shop to get fixed, repaired, or destroyed. One of the three. So let's get into this. The top 10 most frequently cited standards. This is for fiscal year 22, October 21 to September 30th of 22. So I don't know if they got. I don't know if they would have the 23 out yet. Because they say how often they do this. It'd be closed after the fiscal year, so after like September 30th. So it's possible there should be another one coming up. I'm trying to see a date when this was actually published. Doesn't say. It's on the OSHA site. Whatever. All right, let's. The following is a list of the top 10 most frequently cited standards following inspections of work sites by federal OSHA for all industries. OSHA publishes a list to alert employers about these commonly cited standards so they can take steps to find and fix, recognize hazards addressed in these and other standards before OSHA shows up. Workers suffer preventable injuries, illnesses, and deaths related to the hazards addressed in these standards. All right, let's get into number one: fall protection in construction. That's probably a pretty common one. I would say, um, the whole fall protection. We have to wear a lanyard, a harness. Let's see if we can see anything that they'll show us. Um, mm, you can kind of see here what this gal's wearing. Um, it's kind of like, you know, lanyard and harness. It's kind of interesting. These hard hats are weird. I wonder where this is at. Is this in Canada? No, it's in the United States. It's a U.S. government thing. Yeah, it wouldn't be in Canada. This is a United States of America. Yeah, it's our government. Forget the Canada thing. Nope. It's just some weird looking hard hats. Looks like a bicycle helmet. But there are certain events, certain types of tasks where wearing a body harness is so important. Especially if you're up high in high heights. Um, I know structural iron workers, they get a little pass on certain things when they're setting steel. They're working on high rises. I know they used to say, "What do we do? Tie off to a sky hook?" It's like the invisible hook in the sky. There's nothing above them. They're on top of a beam, but there's tons of type of rigging and things that go around the beams, and they walk along, so if they slip and fall, they just like dangle in the air until they get rescued, and they got to get rescued pretty quick because there could be actual permanent injury because of the way the harness goes around your inner thighs and that hits those main arteries in your legs. You could actually end up with some temporary disability, temporary damages. With blood flow loss and this and that. There's a time frame of I forget what that was, so I don't even want to pick a number. But where it gets really ridiculous with even contractors, big contractors, whether or not I should even throw those names. I don't know if I could get in trouble for saying them or not. But some of the largest, I got to work with some of the largest contractors in the world. And all you have to do is Google them in the top 10. I've got to work with a few of them that are in the top 10 in the world. And the one that I thought was a joke, they had my men, like I said, I'm a lead, general foreman, superintendent. They had my men, they had to wear a harness going up a freaking 6-foot ladder. So obviously they're up at the third or fourth rung only, and they have to tie off. It's like, are you kidding me? It was the most ridiculous thing ever. So there was there are some stupid practices that some of these people, these young kids, get out of school. No offense, you become a safety person, and you're like, oh, I'm reading everything by the book, and you have to do this. It's like, well, you're an idiot. I'm just going to say it. You're an effing idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. It's a waste of equipment, waste of money, waste of time. And I don't give a shit if they're on an 8-foot ladder or on the fourth rung. Who cares? They're, I mean, 3 points of contact at all times, and then you have to have a harness on for something like that. If you're working up in super high heights, I get it. Having a tie off. I've worked off of certain things. Like say I remember doing some gymnasiums, and the ceilings are, some stupid high ceilings. They could be 30 feet off the ground. We got these major, huge not fork trucks, scissor lifts. And we're trying to make duct connections up in the web joists. Like literally the span of these, the height of these steel joists were over 6 feet at certain points, because they're spanning from one end to the other end of the gymnasium. And I'll never forget, I was working with this guy, Mark, and I had to get up on and climb on top of my scissor lift, climb on the bars, the handrails, and all that stuff, and stand on top of the bar joists. And at that point, yeah, I have my harness on. I'm tied off because of the fact that I have to make a connection. If something happens and I slip, yes, I totally understand that. You know, there are certain points of that, but that's kind of interesting. Fall protection, I get that. That would be number one. All right, let's get to number two. Hazard communication. The general industry. So that's more or less like your SDS sheets, your safety data sheets. People probably not having the booklet in their gang box or working with that, but that's kind of number two. You're supposed to, actually give all the whole list of on the SDS sheet for any type of any materials that you work with, whether it's a liquid of some sort. You have to give a SDS sheet of it. It's got to be either in your work job site trailer, your job site, the gang box. Shouldn't be in your truck, no. But yeah, I'm having some issues. All right, I figured that out. I had some internet issues going on, so I'm trying to do stuff live and record and so hazardous communication. That's number two. I expect that. It's a general through the general industry, any end of the industry. It could be factories. It isn't just construction. OSHA is all across the board. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. Ladders is number three. Number three. Safety on ladders. How to use ladders properly. Make sure your ladders are in good shape. Extension ladders. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. I want to see what the safety resource, the related safety resource, what they had to say about this ladder safety thing. My internet's acting up. I'm trying to get into occupational safety health. Okay. Yeah, I'm having some issues. I'm going to do like a pause, and once it kicks on, I don't want to be waiting on this. Well, I'm not having luck. For some reason, I can't get out of this. So I'm going to go through this list and kind of talk about, just little variables of it. So on a ladder, they might have been using an aluminum ladder. They're not allowed. OSHA does not approve aluminum ladders. It could be several things. There might have been a missing rung on a ladder, or the ladder, like when you're the ladder standing. You ever see ladders when people are on them? They'll walk the ladders and shit. That's like the worst thing for effing ladder. That used to drive me nuts when I see guys doing that. It's like, easy for you to, it's not your money. You don't have to replace that ladder. And or the ladders that you stand on it and you lean and ladder jerks and stuff like that. And me, I always had back issues, and I hated when I would get on a ladder and there would be a little jerk on it. It's like, gosh dang it, So I gotta ask for a new ladder because I'm not gonna deal with that shit. All right, number 4, respiratory protection. That's the general industry. Our industry, yeah, we've used respiratory protection. I know we've done some waste plants. I don't know what the hell that was. That was weird. We've done some waste plants facilities, and you have to get respirators because you don't want to be smelling that shit all day long. Literally, and that's a whole other topic. Painters very highly use it. People in like different fabricating shops use it if you're dealing with a lot of sanding and stuff to eliminate that dust. And each respirator is fit for you only. They're not to be shared amongst anybody. They're custom fit. Number 5, scaffolding. That's construction primarily. Scaffolding is a big deal. I mean, there's actually jobs. You could get a job as a scaffold setter. That's a job. I don't think a lot of people realize that. But in the big world, there are companies out there. They have hundreds and hundreds and I don't know, linear feet of scaffolding. They could go around. You ever see those scaffolds that go all the way up running in a church? There's a company that does that. I have men that do that for a living. Actually, they make pretty good money. You can make $35 an hour, setting up scaffold. I mean, there's training involved. There's certifications involved that are required. But yeah, that's actually a pretty big. That's a important industry, believe it or not. That's number 5. So it's possible where, say someone was on a scaffold, and a lot of guys, they got these baker scaffolds. Actually, certain baker scaffolds are not even. Well, I always brought baker scaffolds on my projects, and I actually use them. I would get like all the platforms, and I would put them on each level, and that was actually my inventory shelf for all my hardware: nuts, bolts, screws, beautiful tape, Pro Seal, you name it, all thread, like nuts. I think I said that, but I use it as a shelving for all my hardware for the men, and that way I could keep close eye on it, and I could see when inventory is going down. I could, get it on my next order. But yeah, there's money to be made in scaffolding. I know, like after a certain height, you're supposed to be tied to a building, like when masons, if they're building scaffold. And of course, they have the motorized scaffold jacks, where the whole thing goes up. And these are big money investments, but these are big, masonry companies. And you just start it up, and it'll just raise up the scaffold up in the air. I don't know how high those things. They could go pretty high, but they have to mount them to the building every so often. Yeah, obviously, so you don't lose. So you don't have a failed situation. But yeah, if you want to get a job with a scaffolding company, it's a good job. It's a labor job, pays well. You have benefits and all that. Number 6, control of hazardous energy. This is a big deal. This is primarily for anything. So whether if you're doing maintenance, repair on a piece of equipment, I'll give you an example. So say you're a elevator technician, and you have to fix an escalator. Okay. So you got to go to the lockout. You got to go to the actual gearbox, the power box that is actually running the motor for that escalator. And you have a lock. So you lock it out. And it's your lock. You got the key to it. Only you can actually unlock that lock. And everyone knows in the industry that, okay, there's a lockout, something's going on. We do not turn that breaker on. So if you did not lock it out, imagine the guy's working on where there's pulleys and stuff and chains and gears and whatever, and he's got his arms in his spots to say replace a sensor or a relay. And someone says, oh, shoot, that should be on. And they turn it on. Imagine your arm just going, getting cut right off. So this is a very important one. So I don't like it being at number 6. That's messed up. So I don't even like seeing that one in there whatsoever. Number 7, powered industrial trucks, basically fork trucks, general industry. Probably someone's doing they're driving a fork truck. So when you have a load on a fork truck, you're not supposed to be driving with the load up in the air. The load's supposed to be at the ground. The only time it's okay is like when you have to raise it up, getting on the flatbed, and then you can pull forward to, get your load there. But you're not supposed to be driving across an entire parking lot with the load all the way up so you can see. A lot of times, the right way, you're supposed to be going in back, go backwards with the big loads if you can't see around it, or you got flaggers, helping you. But, yeah, that one I could see. I'm surprised that one's after the lockouts. That's scary. I wonder how many people have gotten hurt. Number 8, fall protection training. Now, this is up to your employer. It's up to them to make sure you're trained. I've talked about this, a little bit on the first fall protection, and you'd be amazed on how many guys, they don't even know how to put a harness on. They don't realize that fall protection actually expires. Harnesses do. Lanyards, there's a date. There's how long they actually last. I forgot how many years it was. I don't even want to put a number. So I can't remember off the top of my head. I've been out in the industry a long time. We'll just take, all I have to do is open up some books and look at all that stuff. Be like, oh yeah, because it's just, part of your daily project. Their job is to check your tools, equipment, and all that stuff. And I would learn all that stuff in a matter of minutes. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. What did I miss? Did I miss something? No, I didn't miss anything. Eye and face protection. That's number 9. And that's that one is, guys automatically in the work field because it's been done for so long. For the younger guys that get into the industry, say even in the past 10 years that you've been in the industry, you get into the industry, it's just been a simple standard. But if you want to go back, say 20 years ago, to wear safety glasses and, especially, working in a sheet metal shop, air protection, that's a big one. When you're using those air hammers, pounding down the Pittsburgh edges for the fittings, that's loud. If you don't have air protection on, you're a freaking idiot. I'm just saying. I'm talking with an air hammer in the shop. Even if it's lined, if it's a lined fitting versus unlined, the decibels are so freaking high. So I'm surprised that isn't in there with the eye and face. I think there should be eye, face, and ear protection in this. Face protection is a big deal if you're cutting like blocks, or if you're, say you work for a mason contractor. If you're running a chop saw, with a metal blade and you're cutting rebar, we would cut like roof openings, metal roofs. You always wore face shields. They would hook up on the hard hat. There's little slots in there. They could get inside there and throw the shield down. I would have my internal safety glasses before I even wore glasses. I didn't have glasses back in the day. But I would have my safety glasses plus the shield, double protection, because things happen. And that's a common one. I'm surprised that's not up like in the top 5. I'm really surprised about that. So that's good. I guess they're getting better with that. The SDS, that's a common thing. That's just more or less letting people know what kind of hazards that are potentially you're working with that are on the job. Ladders, I could see that. Respiratory, I could see that. Scaffolding. It's kind of, the lockout thing, I'm surprised that's even in number 6. That should be way down here. Like more or less like, let's go to number 10, the machinery and the and machine guarding. That's just the general industry. That's like bigger industries. That's where they got like conveyors or different things with gears. You don't want to have the gears exposed, belts, so that people are leaning over a lot of equipment, a lot of moving parts with these big machines and stuff. More or less like in a factory type setting, you definitely want to make sure all the guards are on. So obviously there's some. I mean, that's good. That's down at the bottom of the list. That's a big deal. So these are kind of the top 10, like the citations, OSHA, cited contractors. And typically, I don't know what the dollars are anymore, but I remember, I think depending on the type of citation, the first one would be, say, $7,500. I think the second one would go to like $75,000. I mean, they don't F around. I could be wrong with those numbers. I hate throwing numbers out there, but yeah, it could be pretty intense. But yeah, these are things, like I said, more things you have to learn and follow when you are in the construction world. You got to follow OSHA standards, and it's just good common practice. You get on a job like me. I was wearing a hard hat. I mean, oh my God. I think I started wearing a hard hat probably in 1998 out in the field, 97. There would be certain projects we would have hard hats on. But for the most part, like I said, I've done the residential side. Didn't really wear the hard hats in that, but when I got into the commercial side, the big commercial, that was where a lot of these rules, the PPE, personal protection equipment, that's where it was getting more and more strict. Wearing gloves, I would only wear gloves when I'm like moving heavy steel, moving stuff, materials out of trucks. There's so many entities, practicing safe so you get home safe. But these are the top 10 most frequently cited standards per OSHA. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next.